Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lexi and today we're doing another pick a card. Today's pick a card is guidance for closure on your connection. Now, I want to be a bit real and explain why I'm doing this reading. So I get a lot of requests and I even get emails sometimes asking me to do readings like, did they miss me? You know, no contact sort of readings. Are they coming back? I have no problem doing those readings. I don't do a lot of them because I don't feel too many of them can be healthy. I don't mind doing those readings, but as lighthearted as they can be, I feel like sometimes those readings, there's an underlying depth to them in the sense of a lot of the times if we get really caught up on, is this person missing me? Are they thinking of me? What? You know, all of those questions, sometimes there's a deeper there's a deeper reason why we're asking them, and a lot of the times it's connected to a much deeper wound that goes beyond that person that we're asking about. It's sometimes connected to childhood, or it's connected to our own worthiness. And my whole channel is about bringing the light back to you, and not in the sense of I'm bringing it back to you, I'm just reminding you of your own light. I'm reminding you of your own power. And I always want you to walk away from these readings feeling like you've gained something, or you've realized something, or I've given you the tools to target something, even if it is a little bit triggering sometimes. And I felt like I wouldn't feel right doing a reading like that unless I did guidance for closure on this connection first, because I don't want anyone... I'll try and explain it in a way. Like, I used to watch readings like that back in the day, but I almost felt like I was trying to fulfill an answer, or like avoid through those readings. Like, if they missed me, I was worthy. If they were thinking of me, I was worthy. If they came back, I was worthy. And it was like I was trying to fulfill that wound through those readings. So I never felt like those readings were enough, and it kept me just watching a bunch until I realized where that wound was coming from, and I was able to remove it. And then I'd watch readings like that from time to time, but they'd be lighthearted. They didn't, it wasn't, I was no longer just filtering through them, trying to find an answer through them, because the light that you're looking for, the guidance that you're looking for, the person that you wanted to really see you, like, you have all of that within you. And I want everyone to like remember that before I do a reading like that. So I felt like I'll do this guidance one here for guidance on closure on a connection, see what comes out. So trigger warning, if you still after it, once you've had those tools and you feel like something's cleared, if you still feel like you want a reading like that and you're quite detached from it and it's just like a light-hearted reading, you would like a did they miss me, sort of situation like that, that's cool, because I can do that, because there's light in those type of readings too. Especially like will they return sort of things. There's light in those readings. It's good to have that knowledge sometimes to see if somebody might come back, to have you like wits about you, or to just see. But I almost felt like, I just being real here, I just wanted to do guidance for closure first, because I don't want anyone, like, I don't want to feed into a wound and then not bring you to the root of it to pull it out. I'd rather take you straight to the root. So we'll do this, and if you still after that would like a light a reading like that, and it's more in the light-hearted way, I can. But I wanted to get this out of the way. I hope that all makes sense, because I want you to feel empowered for everything, and I'd rather give you the tools and show you where that wound's coming from than just kind of tickle the ego in a way, then we can do that if you still feel like it. So just want to get that out the way. But we're going to be looking at guidance for closure on whatever connection you're tapping into. It can be a parent, it can be a family member, it can be a friend, it can be a relationship, whatever the case. And it's just here to really bring you closure. If there's any wounds still stuck there, expect them to be brought up, or whatever you need to know about the situation, whether it's how the person's feeling and the dynamic. If you need something explained, that's what we're going to be taking a look at. So I have 4 crystals for you guys to choose from. Pile number 1 is the green calcite. Pile number 2 is the blue calcite. Pile number 3 is the amber. And pile number 4 is the Snowflake Obsidian. So see which crystal you were drawn to. The timestamps are going to be in the description box as usual. And I shall see you guys at your timestamp. Hey Pal 1, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance we can bring through for closure on your connection with this person. So like I said, this could be a connection to anyone. And I'm going to leave it open and just allow Spirit to bring through what needs to come through. If I ask any questions in this whole entire pick a card, they're going to be questions that I feel are more tailored to your situation when I tap into it. So the questions may vary, but I feel like Spirit's going to just lead the way and we'll go from there. But the main question is to bring guidance through or help you realize something or see something or understand something in regards to this connection. I tap into you guys straight away and I'm being taken to like a little Care Bear. You know, like Care Bears? I loved Care Bears when I was younger. I forgot they existed till right in this very second. I don't know why I'm being taken to Care Bears. I don't know if they have significance, but that's something that's coming through. We'll get into it though. I do feel though, like because when I think of Care Bears, like they were so soothing, and the more I tap into that feeling that I'm being shown, it's cuddly, it reminds me of childhood. I feel safe, I feel nurtured, that's how I feel. So I almost feel like your person that you're asking about may see you in that way. Feel soothed, connected at the heart space. I'm hearing I'm gonna miss you like a child misses their blanket, which is a Fergie song. I can't remember the song. I know she sings, I hope you know that this has nothing to do with you. And I'm gonna miss you like a child misses their blanket. Big girls don't cry. That's what I'm hearing. Big girls don't cry. I don't know what significance that has, but that's where I'm being taken. So straight away we're off to like an emotional start. Pile number 1, guidance for... I just feel super emotional right now. I don't know if you guys are feeling it. Like my heart space feels really emotional. But do you know what it feels like? Does it feel emotional, like triggered in the way of like pain? It's like a bittersweet pain. Like it's like a muscles being soothed, you know? I feel like this might be a parent or someone, or it could be someone that mirrored wounds from a parent, because that's how I feel. My heart space is really here. And yeah, the lyrics to Big Girls Don't Cry is really coming through. Pile number 1. Oh God. Pile number 1. Guidance for closure on this connection. We have the Hierophant. Guidance for closure on my pile number 1's connection. What do my pile number 1's need to know about this connection? Princess of Cups. Okay. Guidance for closure on my pile number 1's connection. Guidance for closure. We have the King of Cups. Guidance for closure on this connection. I almost just want to lay the cards before I speak, so let me just, because I feel like I'm settling into an energy, let me just get this final card. Pile number 1, guidance for closure. What do my pile number 1's need to know about this? The Fool. The back of the deck, we have the Princess of Pentacles. I feel like this one's going to be a bit deep. Very much so. This feels like a family member more so. It doesn't have to be, it could be a partner, it could be a, you could have even clicked, I'm actually being told, you could have clicked on this reading in regards to asking about a friend or a ex-partner or something like that. But it's almost like I'm being taken to where this wound really lays, which is a parent. But for others of you, I feel like you've clicked on this for closure from like a parent or parental figure or someone that kind of should have looked after you at a certain point, or should have done better with your heart and didn't, because that's how it's coming through. And when I think of Care Bears as well, I think of like childhood, you know. So that's something that's really coming through really strong to me. Now, there's this strong reference of you being someone quite young. You've always had a really strong depth of emotions, and you've always been very connected to your heart chakra, your heart space. You've always been someone that's able to hold space. You've always been somebody that's seen deeper. You've always been somebody that's very intuitive. You've always been somebody that can love very deep. There are some people in this world, and I'm not talking about people that are completely cut off to their emotions in the sense of like narcissism, because this energy coming through doesn't feel like that. This person that is coming through, that you know you guys have asked about, they're not cut off to their emotions. They have a hard time embodying them. It's heavy and it hurts. And I keep being shown head in my hands, trying to heal myself through things that are unhealthy. So maybe the person that you're asking about works a lot to avoid their emotions. Maybe this person has vices that they use to distract themselves from emotions. There's almost this feeling of when it gets hard, I'm worried that I'm going to drown. This is a feeling that I can't embody. I haven't got the strength to. I haven't got the courage to. I'm going to avoid it. They feel emotionally avoidant. And I feel like there's such a depth to you that this person's kind of acknowledging. And there's this feeling of like, I'm not enough. Like I haven't got what you want me to have. I'm not able to give you genuinely what you need. I'm not, like, I almost feel like I want to say I'm half of a person. And I feel like I'm kind of drowning in insecurities, and I'm drowning in my own wounds, and I don't know how to wade through them. And I also don't want to ask for help, because then that means that those wounds are going to be seen from somebody else, and I don't want somebody else to see these things, because these are the things that are making me feel insecure. So if you see these, then I'm going to feel insecure, and I don't want that. So I'm going to run from this, or I'm not going to embody what I need to embody, because to do that I have to activate these things that make me insecure, and I don't want to. So there's a lot of running from pain, running from emotion. And it's almost like with the King of Cups, I know what I need to be, and I know what I should to be, and I know how I should be honoring you, and I know how I should be pouring love into you, and I know, like, I'm aware of it. And I'm not even talking about higher self, I'm talking about like even now, consciously, physically in this world. It's like I know, but I can't. Like, there's just this feeling of I can't. It's like, you know, when you want to do something but it's like kind of dangerous, so you know you might get hurt, so you run. Or like if you open up to a connection and you know wounds are going to happen, so you kind of run and you avoid it. That's how this person feels. It's almost like an avoidance. And I feel like that's then where the insecurity comes from, because I feel like whoever this person is, there's a reference of like, I haven't got what you want, and I'm not enough. And the reason I'm saying that is because we have the King of Cups here. And if you see the Princess of Cups, she has this really big cup, and all the doves are flying around, and she's cultivated that herself. You can see in her hand, she's cultivated a cup from nowhere with her own hands. It's full of emotion. She's got that beautiful kind of like sun energy here. It's like she's connected to her power. This is how this person sees you. That's how they're seeing you. But if you see here with this King of Cups, and normally with the King of Cups, you know, there's a strong emotional capacity here, and there's a strong depth here, you know what I mean, an emotional intelligence. But in this particular card, and even the way the energy is coming through, when you look at the contrast, this guy's sitting here and he's almost holding on to his cup. He doesn't feel like there's this feeling of he doesn't feel like it's enough, because look how small it is compared to this one, looking at those contrasting energies. And there's this strong kind of feeling of like, whoever this person is, I feel like enough time has passed where they've almost seen you grow or embody more aspects to yourself. And there's almost this feeling of like, what would they want with me now anyway? Or what could I bring them now anyway? And I feel like I want to cry. Like, and there's guilt. Like, there is guilt here. It's like, what could I possibly say now? How can I fix that? So I feel like this could even be a parent that was like in your life, and then they maybe were going through things and had to step back. Maybe they were connected devices. There's this feeling of like, what am I going to offer now? I'm only going to hold you back now. Or what am I going to be able to give you now? Like, how do I start from here? And there's like a shame and a guilt that's coming through, that's almost tying me back, like I can't do that. Or if this is an ex, it's like, it almost feels like enough time has passed, they've seen you kind of like grow, because they really see it, especially here with the Princess of Pentacles at the back of the deck, and it's like, it's hitting those insecurities again of, I don't match up to this, I don't match up to that, I'm not good enough for that, I'm not good enough for this. And it almost makes me feel more avoidant again, where I just kind of want to run, because whoever this person is, they feel like you've moved on, they feel like you don't need them, they feel like you've outgrown them. And it's kind of like a bittersweet feeling, because I think that you are somebody that they look to as incredibly healing. I think that even a connection between the both of you, you know, I feel like you would have held space for them to really grow, and allow wounds to kind of come out, but this person almost like kind of ran from them. Or if it was like a parent situation, it was almost like, because I don't have kids, but I've heard people say that sometimes when they have kids, triggers come up that they didn't even realize were there, especially if they've had trauma in their own life. It's like triggers come up, and there's this feeling of like, maybe when they had you, triggers came up, and there's this feeling of, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to deal with this, or I don't, you know what I mean? It's almost like I'm repeating a pattern, and I know I'm repeating a pattern and I shouldn't be, but I don't feel like I have the strength to break it. And now I feel like awful, like I feel guilt, I feel grief, and there's nothing I can do to kind of fix that then. But the connection to you, it's like, it's a hearty one, because there's love here. So it's like, you're far away from me then. You know what I mean? I don't know. This person's coming through to feel quite lonely. So if you ever wondered, like, does this person miss you? The answer is yes. It's coming through. If you ever wondered if this person feels guilty, or there's like regret, yes. And if you ever wondered, because if it's a case of, is this person coming back? There's no yes and there's no no. They are dealing with their own wounds and inner insecurities, and they're almost looking to you like, because there's a respect here, I will say that. There's a respect for you of like, I'd only mess their flow up anyway. I'd only bring them pain anyway. I'd be a burden now anyway. And there's a strong reference of them wanting to take a burden off you if you ever felt like a burden to this person, because it's like, you were like, there's a strong reference of like, you weren't the burden, I was the burden. And again, this isn't like just higher self. I feel like they would say that now, or at least feel that now, whether they'd speak it out, because it takes courage to speak. There's this feeling of, not, you weren't the burden, I was the burden. It was always my feelings. It was nothing that you did. There was nothing of me leaving to base your worth on. There was nothing of me disconnecting from you to base your worth on. There was nothing that I did that was like for you to determine your worth on at all. I feel like there's a strong karmic situation here with this Hierophant card, and the way this is set up. I almost feel like this is a karmic situation that was teaching you to acknowledge your own inner power, acknowledge your own inner worth. And do you know what triggers as well? I think you have, like I said, there's this lovely, beautiful, deep heart you have. You're the type of person to still hold space for them now. You would be able to understand their emotions if they were to kind of speak them out and build from here. It's them to this day. It just feels like I feel stuck. I don't want to sit in the energy too much, but I kind of want to cry, because I just feel deep. I feel pain, and I feel like I want to numb things. And then I'm being really taken to like the 12th house. So I don't know if this person has vices that they're using right now, but it almost feels like I'm blocking anything out that's too heavy. When they think of you, it connects to the heart space, but over that heart space, it's like, and this is energy I'm talking about now, over that heart chakra, they're not cut off to emotions, but there's an overgrowth of, let's say, weeds, where to really allow the heart chakra to activate, the way that you allow your heart chakra to activate, there's a lot of karma and wounds and pains and self-hatred that they need to remove. And I'm being told you know this because I feel like you've worked on yourself. So you know, before you've activated your heart space, you might have been acting out of like wounds of maybe feeling like you had to prove to people that you were worthy or X, Y, and Z. So you know that because you've had wounds over your own heart space at times. But I just feel like this person, they haven't dealt with theirs, so there's like an overgrowth. And they're just kind of dealing with that overgrowth. But there's a strong reference of this isn't your responsibility to heal them though. And it isn't your responsibility to fix them. And I don't feel the need to say it too strong because I feel like you've learned this lesson elsewhere. So I don't know if you've learned this lesson with like another partner or a sibling or another parent. You've already learned the lesson of, it's not my job to fix you. I don't find my worthiness to fixing you. That's not what this is about. So I feel like you know that. So I don't have to go too deep there, but I feel like there's almost been like a reference of like, well, why? Like, why couldn't you just love me like that? Why couldn't you have just poured into me like that? Why couldn't you just opened up to me like that? And it's a difference in depths. It's the love that you deserved. I don't feel like this person was able to give it to you. And if this was a connection, you would have just settled for that. You would have been settling for less, and those deep parts of you wouldn't have been hit. And you might have even got drained by this person. And you deserve a love that like really pours into you the way that you pour into people. You deserve someone to really be able to hold space for you the way that you hold space for people. And I feel like that's a bit of a lesson that you've been learning. And I think that this person's contributed to you learning that. There's this kind of like soul energy of like, well, me and Kanye, this is what we're going to teach each other. Like, that's kind of where it is. Because I feel like this person watches you from the sidelines. I see somebody on a hill watching somebody. Because this person, if you're wondering if this person checks up on you, whether it's, a parent, whatever they do, whether it's asking people about you, or if it's just wondering about you, or, checking your social media, this feels, I have to say, for the most part, this does feel like a parent, a family member. Because there's a love here, like a really deep family love, it feels. But they feel like you've kind of like moved on. That's how they feel. Because there's such good intention coming through, and that's what's coming through. And if you feel like this person doesn't have good intentions for you, you might have picked the wrong pile. Because all I'm picking up is genuine, pure. Like, if they hear good news about you, they don't wish bad on you or anything like that. They genuinely want you to do good. That's why I feel like it's someone that at one point you would have had a deep connection with, but it feels family. Because it's like, I really want them to do good. I want them to find success. I want them to find love. I want them to have these things. Because they see you as very deserving and they have a lot of respect for you. And even with the Princess of Pentacles and all these animals around, when we connect to animals and animals really understand our vibration, there's somebody very pure. Animals are not going to just trust anyone. They're very intuitive. They're referencing you like that. And somebody that's very strong. 100%. They see you as somebody that's very strong. Yeah, they almost feel inadequate is the feeling. So let's just pull some more cards. What shall I ask Spirit Guides that pile number 1 might need to hear? I don't feel there was too much of... There was in the past a deeper wound here, but I feel like even you tapping onto this reading, it doesn't feel deep and ingrained to the point that, like, I see this almost filling you up or enabling you to... When I say purge, it doesn't feel like a deep, dark purge. It just feels like, okay, I get it. Okay, you were going through that and I know I deserve better, and you're allowed to have those feelings like, F you, I deserved better in this connection, whatever it was, friendship, family, whatever. You're allowed to feel those feelings, and please honor those feelings, because especially if this was like a parent, you deserve to have that love poured into you. You deserve to have someone show up for you and be present. You're allowed to feel those emotions, and I feel strongly that I want to say that, which I feel may be the higher self coming through. And you're entitled to any feelings that come up in that way, anger, frustration, and everything. But I almost feel like that's already been purged to a degree, because I almost feel like the way I'm approaching you guys and the energy you're in, this is almost like this this is why I felt it in the heart space. I feel like I'm giving you back energy that you may have lost pondering why I did the things that I did. It's almost like sealing something or tying something with a bow, or just giving you that final oomph. That's what this feels. That's how it's coming through from you guys. Like, I feel like, because there's a receptiveness that you have without constraints. If there was constraints, there would be like a trigger coming up, like F you, like, what, you know, why are you, you know, why are you sending me this, you didn't love me or whatever. And again, if you are feeling that, honor it. But I feel like for the most part, a lot of you guys, there isn't much restraint to that love. It's like there's an understanding and a need to put to bed, and an inner peace that you've gained by yourself. And that's where it's almost like higher self, where it's coming in of like observing and pride and walking with you in a way. Because I almost feel like whoever this is, the higher selves, has helped you clear this. One, please, spirit guides, closure for my pile number ones. What do they need to know about this connection, my pile number ones? We have strength. We have happiness. We have mystery. Pile number one. Ooh. And passion. I'm hearing Let Me Down by Georgia Smith and Stormzy. Because I heard him say, when she sings I've Got You to Let Me Down, he sings over on the second chorus, he sings when I see tears I'm likely to run. Because it's almost like it's getting a bit too deep, I need to run, sort of thing. And then we have intuition at the back of the deck. So strength, happiness, mystery, and passion. What do we have here? Strength, happiness, mystery, and passion. Straight away, before I get to any of the other cards first, I'm being taken to the mystery card, because especially with it being under the King of Cups, because I almost feel like, again, I'm hearing Too Good by Drake and Rihanna. No, you're too good, I'm too good for you, you take my love for granted, sort of thing. It's the reference with the mystery card, especially if this was like a childhood situation where this would have been a parent. When we're rejected in childhood by parents, our inner child for the longest is going to want to make sense of why that parent doesn't want us. And when we're young, we don't understand bigger concepts like that. Our emotions might, but our mental state doesn't understand it. So what's going to happen then is our inner child and our shadow self are going to find partners to play out that situation with, to have that same sort of energy, to have that wound triggered so that they can amend it. So if a parent has, you know, deep wounds or whatever, or they're connected to certain vices and they're not able to presently show up and be emotionally there, what's going to happen is that child is going to see that, and as the child gets older, it knows there's something wrong and I need to flip this switch. There's something wrong and I need that person to love me and I need to make this work. And saying, no, we can't do that with that parent, maybe that parent's just cut off. What that child is then going to do is vibrate and kind of be drawn to people that are emotionally avoidant like that parent, and are going to go, okay, if I can make this person who is avoidant and who doesn't, you know, who doesn't want to be with me, or who can't be with me, or they're getting frightened, or there's these wounds here, if I can make that person want me, I'm worthy, and that way everything comes full circle and I can rest. But because they've sought out that same energy, it's never going to work then, because it's a back and forth, and the lingering energy is still with that parent. And what we then need to do is teach our inner child and our shadow self, actually, we, like I always say, begin with love and I end with love. And this person's inability to go that deep or love me in that way doesn't determine my worth. And I think you've done a very excellent job in finding your own strength and making your own happiness in your own life, because lots of songs coming through from you guys, but I'm hearing this song Heal Me. I can't remember the name, but I will link it. And she sings, I'm not waiting for you to heal me, I'm not waiting for your love, you can keep it. And again, it's that inner child wound of waiting for somebody to come in and love us like that parent couldn't, for whatever reason. And there's a lot of mental backflips we take. But I feel like you followed the wound back, and there's this feeling of you bringing happiness into your life. You bringing that strength into your life. and you using that beautiful light and those emotions in, especially with the passion card here, in everyday connections with other people, or through creativity, or through you know, building in your career. Maybe you work with, you know, children that go through things like this. Maybe you work connecting to people's inner child. I'm seeing like therapy and counseling things. Or maybe you just naturally are a very beautiful expression of love, and there's a strong reference of you already overcoming this in a really beautiful way. But I think this reading was more so to show you that, like, this person, it was never, I don't want this person in my life, baggage, don't want that. It wasn't that. But I understand that you would have thought that, because what else would you think? You're trying to make sense of it in your brain. But I think this was here to kind of like put that lid on and be like, some people just, there's a lot of wounds and they're not able to show up the way that they're supposed to. And I think that you see such beautiful lights in people. You see what they could be, which is beautiful. But I think you've also learned the lesson of seeing people where they're at and choosing that you deserve better. And one thing I will say is this person does look at you like they deserve better than that. And they do know that. This isn't higher self speaking. This is like, no, I know. They're observing that, and that in itself hits the insecurities, because it's like, I wasn't strong enough, I wasn't bold enough. And that's something that they, you know, adds to that layer of, you know, so there's that they're working through. But there's a strong reference of, I feel like for a long time you almost felt like you weren't good enough. You were trying to prove that you were good enough, all the while this person's looking and going, oh my God, like they're so, I just want to cry, because it's like you're not seeing it and they're seeing you as it. Like you're almost feeling like you need to prove your worth, and they're like, they're too worthy actually. And it's that contrast. So it's almost like putting that to bed to show you that this person couldn't be what you wanted them to be and what you deserved. And I think that's that. I think that they weren't able to have the courage to do that. Pile number 1. Final card. Messages for pile number 1's connection to bring them closure. Power. I think you're coming to a time period now where you're realizing that power's always been within you. You never had to prove yourself to anybody. You never had to prove yourself to this person. You never had to wait for any, you know, for someone to tell you that you were worthy. You had it in you all along, and I think you're stepping into that. And I think this reading more so is you just getting a little bit of inner peace. I don't feel like there was much blockages I was really feeling. At least an overwhelming amount of you feel very at peace, and this reading almost feels like it's bringing that last bit of like inner peace or like understanding to you, because you've really been working on your own power and on what you deserve, which is really, really beautiful. And the back of the deck we have the Magha, which again, it's like you know, creating from where you're at and creating abundance and creating love, because like I say, you begin with love, you end with love, and that's you guys. But I do feel like this person does wonder about you, think of you, but it's kind of like an unspoken thing. Yeah, so I'll link that song, the Heal Me song, in the description box, and any of the songs I remember, I'm gonna go through it now and think I'm gonna link them for you guys. I'll just write them in the description box, you can go listen to when you want to. But yeah, that's what I have for you, pile number 1. I really hope this was able to bring you the closure that you needed. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if it did. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching, and hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey pal 2, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance you may need for closure on this connection. So what I'm going to do is start with tarot. I'm going to tap into the connection that you have in mind, and then Spirit's going to really direct me on where you need closure, what you may need to know about the situation, whether it's just me explaining things or you know, healing or triggers or whatever comes up. Basically, if you need to know something from the other side, that's what we're taking a look at today. As I open up to your reading, I hear Better Left Unsaid by Ariana Grande, of course. So I feel like there's almost this feeling like you could have an apology from this person, or this person could reach out. There's almost this feeling of it's very easy to put for this person to maybe give you closure or put this thing straight, or if this was like from the past, it would have been very easy for this person to just speak their mind or just say things and not leave you hanging. They just didn't for whatever reason, and we're going to probably be taking a look at why, because I keep being shown the Hanged Man, meaning that either you guys may have felt for a while like you were waiting for an apology, but could also be like waiting for information or trying to understand the situation. It's almost like the math isn't mathing, the puzzles aren't coming together, I don't understand. So I think we're going to be taking a look at why this person hasn't kind of explained anything, because I think that may be something that you guys might have struggled with in the past. You could still be struggling with it. Pile number 2. What closure do my pile number 2s need? This person mirrored you, and the reason I'm saying mirrored, because I'm being shown the movie scene from this Barbie movie. It was called Princess and the Pauper, and there was like 2 Barbies. One had a blue dress, one had a pink dress, and they sing, I'm just like you, you're just like me, it's something anyone can see. And they're basically, because they're both Barbies, so they both look the same, just a different colour hair. To that being shown to me, I almost feel like you and this person mirrored each other, mirrored each other's wounds. And I think that there was a very strong, because I'm hearing Scared to Be Lonely by Dua Lipa. Is the only reason you're holding me tonight because we're scared to be lonely. So I'm hearing that. So you could have met this person when they had just come out of a connection, or you had just come out of a connection. Or it could have also been that this person could be somebody that jumps from connection to connection. You might have done that in the past. It doesn't have to be, but there's like a feeling of, I almost feel like the person that we're asking about, I feel like this person tries to heal themselves through other people. That's something that I'm hearing. But what they're trying to heal, I feel like you have the same wound. It's quite interesting, but we'll get in. I just feel like you're quite alike inwardly. You just express things differently, or go about your own healing journeys differently. I would also say that your morals are quite different. Pile number 2. What closure do my pile number 2s need for this connection? What guidance and closure do my pile number 2s need to know about this connection? What do my pile number 2s need to know? We have the Chariot. This person never said how they felt. And it's funny because this person actually does have quite deep emotions within. I just feel like they almost constantly always use their logical mind. I feel like they will either always go for the easier option or go for the more logical option. They really don't listen to their own emotions. And the further they keep going where they move with logic and not with their own emotions, they are going to, it's going to have them less in touch with their own heart space and less in touch with their own emotions, because the more we block those energies from flowing, we basically put a lid on it and a lid on it, a lid on it, until we can't feel it anymore. It gets clogged. So there's a feeling of this person doing that. Who sang the song and it's like, where do broken hearts go? Do they find their way home? I just shared that. I don't know who sang that. Pile number 2. I feel like you met this person when they were going through it. They might not have even said that to you, but I feel like this person was going through it within their own emotions, or they were grieving like a connection. There's a strong reference of like grief, and just kind of feeling a little bit lost. They would have been in that energy when they met you. Pile number 2. Guidance for closure on my pile number 2s. Oh goodness. We have the 5 of Wands. The Empress. The King of Wands. Okay. I'm hearing Kehlani's song Too Deep. She sings Too Deep for me. So one thing that I will say about your person is that I don't feel like it's from childhood. It could be from childhood, it could have been from a parent, or the wound could originate there. But I almost feel like there might have been another connection that they were in that really would have hurt them, hurt their heart space. They could have dealt with someone that was a little bit narcissistic, or they could have just felt, because this is their energy, they almost felt like they would have poured into someone that didn't get something back. And I'm hearing dealing with a heart that I didn't break from your energy. So I almost feel like what you were up against when you were connecting with this person was somebody that was kind of like deeply wounded and really going through the motions, because I'm hearing Take Care by Drake. And I think that this person was very much so drawn to what you look like on the inside. I think that you guys have a incredible healing nature to you. And I think that you guys have a very soothing touch to this person. Because it's almost like the way they're almost referencing you guys, it's almost like a lake or a like pond of like healing energy. And it's almost like I'm dipping in, I'm swimming in. So if you ever question if this person did like you, this is the thing, they did like you. However, what kind of blinded them a little bit was you guys, I feel, are empaths, very healing. And I think that they really loved your healing nature, the way you nurture them. You might have given them compliments when they were feeling very low. I feel like that made them feel better. And I feel like, yes, this person liked you, but I also feel like there was almost like, not rose-tinted glasses, what's the word? Kind of like a blurred vision of who you actually are, because it's like they weren't getting to know you. It was like they were basking in that sort of energy, because I almost feel like the connection might have got a little bit imbalanced. And the reason why I feel like it got imbalanced to the point that this person might have run is because when I was feeling that energy of you guys feeling very soothing to them and very healing, it was almost like I said, they don't like to feel too deep into their emotions. So it was always like the minute you touch somewhere where there was a trigger emotionally, they would run. I also feel some of you guys may have had similar traits in regards to personality as... No, do you know what it is? I feel like this person might have projected that you had similar traits to an ex. I don't think that you actually did have similar traits to this ex. I feel like this person, this emotion that I feel like you'd kind of bring out, I feel like you'd almost touch wounds that they didn't want touched because it was like it was too painful and they were trying to ignore it. And that's why I almost feel like they'd project that you're similar to like an ex onto them, because it's almost like you triggering those wounds would remind them of this ex, if that makes sense. Whereas it's not that you were like this ex. I feel like, I'm trying to put it into words so I can show you what I'm being shown. Imagine somebody and they've got a cut on their skin, and that cut was hurt by, let's say, an ex-friend or something like that. So with that being said, I feel like you guys, let's say like you were just hugging them, they enjoyed the hug, but then, you know, you want to love them and you want to make them feel better, so you put the hand over the cut to help it feel better. That it hurts the cut, but then it's also like, you know, when you put medicine on something that can heal and help, it was almost like you were like holding on to that cut to kind of help, and then they would be reminded of that ex, and it was like, you're like this, you're like that, and run. So there's almost this feeling like I'm going to cut off, because I almost feel like what this person was looking for after the fact of this connection was something that was more fiery, quick, boom. Like, this person may have jumped to a bunch of different people or just been dating around a lot and talking to a bunch of people, because I feel like what they were looking for when they met you was something intense, something quick, something not too deep, something oomph. But you brought this very deep healing nature, and I don't think they kind of expected that. And then it was like all of a sudden I feel kind of connected to this person, but I don't feel ready to be loved like that, because they really kind of trying to love me deep. And if this feels more like relationship, because that's where I'm straight away being taken to, but this could also be friendship and a, you know, family member situation too, especially if like a parent hadn't received certain loves, you grow up to give that to that parent. That can easily cause a little bit of like, oh, you know, and trigger. Same with friends as well, but this feels more so like a connection. But I feel like this person was almost looking for like fiery, quick, and it was almost like the way this person's looking at emotions is like, what can my emotions do anyway? Like, I can't lead with my emotions because they just get me with people that are gonna like hurt me. So it's almost like they're looking at connections like, what can you do for me then? What can you do for me? And I feel like it's not cut off though. Like, how do I explain this, because this person's really hard to read. They still have their emotions, but they're caging them off. Because I'm not tapping into anyone that's like, I mean, it could be apply it as you need it, but I'm not picking up on someone that's like fully like, you know, narcissistic or cut off to their emotions, because they're aware of these emotions. But it's almost like, but I've got to think logical, I've got to act like adult about this, I've got to think logical. So it's almost like this person would step towards connections where it was like, this is logical for me because financially it's better for me, or this is logical for me because this person isn't trying to like love me too deep or anything like that. This person's just, you know, it's almost like this is logical, this is practical. And I feel like they'd move that way, and that's how they'd keep control over their own heart space. I do feel like they would try and heal themselves through other connections, but it's almost like I'm being shown tiny little jars of healing medicine, and I feel like the way they're almost looking at you energetically is like a big jar of healing medicine. And it's like, it's almost like you're pouring it over them, and it's like, no, it's too much, there's too many triggers coming up, it's too much. You know what I mean? And it could even be that you weren't necessarily doing anything for this person, but because you guys have such a healing nature anyway, I feel like this person would kind of just have these wounds come up anyway. You know, when you're a healer, people can easily get triggered and project onto you, and you're doing nothing but eating noodles or something. Like, it happens. I feel like that might have happened with this situation, because I see this person feeling so connected to you, and in like, they see you as a good person. By the way, if they've projected onto you that you're a bad person, I feel like it was a projection of an ex. I feel like they know deep down you are a good person, because they're referencing you as a good person, and they're referencing you as someone that they're seeing these initial sparks that they like, where they want to move fast, but it's like the minute that they're trying to like rush in with this fire thing, it's like you come through with this tsunami of emotions, or like this tsunami of healing, and it's like, to be with me you have to reach these depths, and like, whoa, I wasn't ready for that. Like, you know, I just want something quick or fast or practical and logical. I wasn't ready for all this emotion. And then it's like they step back. And that's what would have happened with this situation. I do feel as well, like, because of this person's wounds, they are quite selfish. And this is the thing, I don't feel like they always were selfish. There was a particular time period, or it could have been something from childhood, or it could have been this particular ex, because I feel like this person may have been hung up on an ex when you were involved with them. That's how it feels. I feel like there's another person in the picture that they're hung up on, and it doesn't have to be that person, like they're still speaking to them. It could just be the wound of that. I'm hearing Donkey when he sings I'm so alone. There's no one here beside me. I feel like this person tends to like wallow in those emotions, and then it's almost like they create this shell of it to protect it. But like I'm saying, I feel like this person might have been overgiven in the past, but instead of like just learning healthy boundaries and moving forward, I feel like this person created a massive fort around their emotions. And it was like, because there's this trigger of people asking for something. It's like, I'm not giving you all of that because you don't deserve that. It's almost like they became selfish to protect themselves. And sometimes a little bit of selfishness is good, but when it's sabotaging connections and you're not thinking of somebody else's emotions, that's not good. And I don't think this person learned that balance. I feel like when you met them, they were coming out of a really overgiving, I'm doing everything for you energy, and moving into a, I'm being selfish, I'm thinking for myself, and I want just something quick and easy right now, or I want this and that right now, and they weren't thinking of you. And I feel like in the process, everything that they didn't want to happen to them again, I feel like they ended up doing, not just to you, I feel like they might have done it to other people, that, because I'm hearing look like them on the inside too, and I think, because I'm hearing Moral Conscience by Kali Uchis, and she sings, when you're all alone, you'll know you were wrong. So I feel like if this person, because I feel like this person quickly cut you off or quickly ran away, if this person did project onto you, if this person did cut you off and just boom to somebody else, especially with this fire energy I feel like they might have, this person knows that they were wrong. Because I feel like when this person's on their own, they feel like they'll review the situation, and I feel like they don't like to be seen as the bad guy. So I feel like they'll ponder over, like, I think I hurt this person, I know I shouldn't have done that, or I know I shouldn't have done that. But then all of a sudden, that feeling of like, well, they shouldn't have done this, they shouldn't, and it's like they cut off because it's like, I've got to be selfish, I've got to protect myself, I've got to focus on me, it's all about me. But they know when they're saying it that they shouldn't have, there's something they've done that they know they shouldn't have done. And I feel like this is part of the closure, to say they know what they did that was wrong. Like, they know that. But they were looking for something. I feel like their ego got really hurt when they were hurt too. So I feel like it's almost like they were looking for connections that would build up that ego. This person may have a lot of money. This person, you know, this person has a career that I like. Or this person is basically kind of like doting on me and I like this, so I'm going to have this. Whereas I don't feel like you would have necessarily doted on them. It's almost like opening up to those depths and like, if you want to be with me, you need to work through these wounds, sort of thing. You may have called them out on certain wounds that they have, because I almost see you guys doing it but like not realizing it, like, oh, you're quite like this, or you're quite like that, getting to know them. And I feel like this person's like, whoa, you're getting to know me way deeper than I thought you were going to. So there's this feeling of like, I need to run. That's 100% something that I'm picking up on, because I feel like, especially with the 5 of Wands, I feel like quite a few times you had to have words maybe with this person, because I'm seeing the volcano with the fire coming out. I feel like you might have had to have words with this person, and say to this person, this isn't, you know, I'm giving all of this, you need to give this back. But this person, it was almost like the mindset that they were in when you were saying that, they were like, oh, this person's asking for too much. And you know what happens when you give, when you just give that, they just take. I'm going to cut. It's like that. It's like, I'm going to cut off. So I think it triggered those wounds, but those wounds needed to be open because they kind of went the wrong way. They went the way that made them like the person that hurt them, which then had them ending up hurting people that were like them beforehand. Because I think without those wounds, you and this person were actually quite alike. And this person does have a level of a moral conscience, like the song, to understand that they would have done wrong. But I feel like they're almost like, yeah, well, I needed to do that because this person was asking for too much. I mean, you could have been asking for too much. I don't think you were. I think this was more a karmic situation for you guys to understand what you were worth and to understand how much you give and that you do deserve it back as well, and to find your own personal power, because we have this Empress card, so it's kind of letting me know that this connection was supposed to go the way that it was supposed to. Because even if when you see with these 5 of Wands, he's holding these flowers there in his hands, so it's almost like I need to keep some things back to myself. So with this volcano here, I feel like you might have had to tell this person off, or really just cut ties with this person, or there might have been a bit of an explosive I'm done with this situation, which had you then step into or build up to your own Empress energy, where you were in that state of receiving and know that you deserve to receive back too. But I think you've done it, and I think the way you've balanced these energies out, because you've worked through the same wound as this person, but you've learned to balance these energies out. Still know to give to people, but also that you need to have boundaries and that you also deserve to receive. And you've learned in a really balanced way. There's a lot of healing, because even these white flowers, they're all in the back and they're plentiful, meaning that you've learned the understanding of balancing, you know, those energies. And I feel like you've done it in a really graceful way. And I think this person may know that, or may see that, or hear that through the grapevine. That is a little bit of, is it jealousy? What is this feeling I'm feeling? I can't even explain the feeling that I'm feeling. It's like, I feel like this person's a little bit ashamed to face you, because I feel like this person can see that you, I think a reason you triggered them too is that you reminded them of an energy they used to be in. And I think that they almost feel like they kind of expected you to turn out like them, in the sense of being quite selfish and cutting off, but you haven't. You've remained with a very beautiful heart space, but you've learned balance. And I think that this person has seen you done things in a way that maybe they wish they could have. You can have the best of both worlds. You can feel really deeply, but also have boundaries so that you're not taken advantage of. You can do that, and this person can see that. There's a little bit of, I don't know if it's shame or guilt. Because I'm feeling it. But whatever this feeling is, because it's either shame or guilt or it's both, if you're not hearing from this person, that's why. Because I feel like they know they messed up, but they don't want to take accountability for how they might have treated you. Yeah, I think that's why you haven't heard from them. Because they're seeing you with all of this in the Empress energy, and it's like, that's how I could have done it and I didn't do it that way. So it's like, maybe they've done some reflecting, so it's like, actually they're nothing like that ex, to be honest with you. And they're kind of, there's a weird feeling that I'm getting. It's like, I'd want to reach out, but like, because of how something ended, or because of how something maybe was said to me, maybe you told this person about themselves, because of something, or it could be something that they said to you, there's almost this feeling of like, I don't want to lose face now, so I've got to keep going this way. But I feel, again, it's like shame and guilt. It's like, I've got to stay in this energy. I've got to stand by what I said, because it's like an ego thing that I'm picking up. But if I could reverse, like if I could press a button and reverse that I didn't say it and connect with this person, I probably would. But like, I just don't feel like this person has the courage at all. I feel like there's this feeling of like, I effed up. And that's when I feel like they're kind of in a I'm hearing self-deprecated, but I don't even know what that means. Sorry guys, I don't know the meaning of that word, so I could be saying it in the wrong way. I'm hearing self-deprecating. I don't know, this person doesn't feel, this person's beating themselves up, but not just for what they've done with you. I feel like they might have done this to other people, so they're kind of beating themselves up about it. And then I also feel like, I'm hearing redemption by Drake. Redemption's on your mind when you think about me. I'm hearing that. And I feel like this person has treated some friends quite poorly as well, and like other people around them quite poorly as well. And I feel like they feel a little bit stuck. But what I'm saying here, they feel a little bit stuck, but the fact that they're processing some feelings and beating themselves up means that this tide within them is actually moving a little bit. So this person might work through some emotions. Some of them may be going through a Saturn return. I see someone analysing and kind of growing from this and how they might have treated you. But it's slow at the moment, but I feel like they are starting to reflect a little bit. Some of them are just completely still in ego. I don't care, I stand by what I said, whatever. But there's a twinge of like, I know I wasn't right there. I know I shouldn't have done that. And then the others, they're starting to move a little bit, because I see someone like picking at themselves. This person may have a lot of Virgo energy. Virgo, Gemini. No, yeah, I do feel Gemini as well. Virgo, Gemini, I don't know why I'm picking up like Mercury energies. Pile number 2. What closure do my pile number 2s have? Do my pile number 2s need even? We have strength. What fell? What fell? We have protection. This person was scared to be hurt like they had been done in the past, so they leant on their ego, logical mind, and pushed away anything that was too triggering or reminded them of a situation. Frustration. And faith. And the back of the deck we have magic, but it's reversed. So strength, protection, frustration, and faith. Yeah, I feel like it was I feel like I'm hearing My Life by 50 Cent, Eminem, and I'm sure it was a guy from Maroon 5, the Adam Levine guy. And the reason I'm hearing it is because Eminem says something, and he says, I wrapped myself into this bubble, I guess, I think he says, wait, that's bubble wrap, right? And it's making me feel like this person was like leading with their ego until they almost like blocked themselves in, or they were protecting themselves. And I almost feel like I'm in a cell, like I'm in just a cell and I'm stuck. Because that's what this lock is reminding me of. It's like a cell. I almost feel like I'm locked now. And now I have to think of certain feelings, or I feel stuck in a situation where the flame is burnt out and I'm kind of stuck now. So I feel like what's the saying? The chickens come home to roost. Is that the saying? I feel like that's happening with this person. This person might have thought that they were winning for some time, which is funny because I don't even think you saw anything as a competition. Whereas now they would say, oh, I think I'm losing. But, you know, I feel like you weren't even looking at it as a competition. That's why there's this bloom in here. You were just, you know, being you, I feel, and trying to connect with someone, and they just weren't listening to your feelings or emotions because they were in a very selfish energy at the time and thinking of themselves. They did want a situation with you, but it was almost like, why aren't you playing it fair? And when I say, why aren't you playing it fair, their feelings is like, why aren't you doing what I want you to do? Why aren't you just like okay with what I'm given? Why is it not enough for you? And I feel like that's the energy that they were in, because it was like, I'm not going back to how I used to be. I'm not doing it. Like, I think that was what you were up against. And that's why we have this frustration, because it's like, I do like you. I would be with you, but like, it's just not, you're not. They're almost looking at you like you weren't playing ball, but I think it was you not settling. That's what I'm picking up. I feel like they feel like you weren't playing ball, because that's where this frustration's come. Why aren't you just doing what I want you to do? You know what I mean? And I think that they almost feel a little bit entitled, because I think that they gave so much that it was almost like, no, I have these requirements and this is what I want, and people need to do what I want. But like, it's good to know what your needs are, but you also have to have respect for other people. And I think this person didn't learn that. It almost feels like they were being a bit of a DI, you know, they were being bad, and they were not thinking of somebody else's feelings. They were being too selfish, and it's just, that's what caused the demise here, completely. And why do we have faith? This person, I think this person felt like you and them might have ended up together at one point. Yeah, I feel like this, I don't know, it's either this person felt like you were going to end up together at one point, or this person would fantasize about a connection, but then not pull their weight, because it was like, I don't need to do this. So it's like, well, you do if you want this thought to become a reality. So they'd almost like keep you in their thoughts instead of, it's like they would think of, imagine somebody thinking of like what they're going to do in a relationship and then just not doing it. Like, I feel like it's like, I want all of this with this person, so they're thinking of it, and their heart's there because it's like their emotions, so it's like, this is what I want, and then they're just not doing it because they're almost looking to you to do it, and it's like, you're not meant to pull all of the weight. And I think they do this in a lot of connections. Yeah, they may love bomb as well. Pile number, I feel like they love bomb breadcrumb, which is not good. I don't like that at all. And I think they might have done this. Why would they love bomb and then breadcrumb? Why would they do it in the first place? They knew what to say to get people to be interested in them, but then the breadcrumbing part was like, the breadcrumbing part would always start when things were about to get real, because then it's like, right, you've got to do this now. The love bombing was more words, the breadcrumbing was their actions. That's what I'm hearing. It's like they're emotionally avoidant, whereas they used to be more emotionally, what's the other one again? Codependent? What's the word? When you're the opposite of emotionally avoidant, you're like emotionally, what's it called? Emotionally, I can't remember the word, but I feel like this person almost like switched, because it was like, I'm protecting myself. Pile number 2. We have play. This person was very open with their inner child, and when this happened, I feel like they cut off their inner child. They cut off from their inner child. You may be very connected to your inner child, and I think that's might be what triggered them. Again, this could have been like them being hurt in childhood, so then it's like you triggered memories from their childhood. But that's something that I'm picking up. And we have reclaim. The reclaim card was back, so they almost felt like the way they were reclaiming their power was almost having control over a connection, instead of being controlled in a connection. Whereas that's actually not what having your power back. Your power back is kind of doing what you're doing, where it's like, I'm in control of where my energy goes and I have boundaries so people don't take advantage of me. However, I'm open and free to love and I don't fear it. That's you reclaiming that power. I think they kind of took the wrong road. The intention was there at the beginning, but they then became a little bit power hungry in a revenge or a vengeful sort of thing of like, you'll never get me like that again. And it's like, I don't even think Pal 2 wanted to get you like that. They were just trying to share a connection. Or maybe, you know, maybe you guys used to be very open in regards to healing people and you had to learn to have those boundaries with people. You know, the empath lesson of learning that. I feel like you might have had to learn that lesson and this is who you learned that lesson with. But yeah, that's what I have for you guys. I'm going to link the songs for you guys to listen to. But I think you more so needed to see what was going on energetically. And I hope I was able to bring closure there because of that. I'm sending you guys all of my love. I hope you have a beautiful morning, afternoon, evening, whenever you're watching. And hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching. Hey Part 3, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance you need for closure on this connection. So you guys chose the Amber. I'm going to start with tarot and then we're going to move on to your oracle cards. Now, the first thing that I want to say when I was tapping into these energies is I almost felt like there was spikes coming from the right, spikes coming from the left. I kept having to stop and start for different reasons. The first time I just couldn't pick up anything. The second time it just felt muddy. The third time there was the rag and bone man and he was shouting, so I had to wait for him to stop. Then there was drills going on and it was like, oh my god, like the amount of disruptions trying to get into this reading in itself. I don't know whether there was just like a lot that went against this situation. Like you know, you could have met and then you had to kind of be pulled apart, or there was just like a lot going on in both of your lives when you met. Or I also feel with the stopping and starting, you might have tried to make a go of this more than once, especially if it was a relationship. I do feel this feels more like a relationship, but it could be like friendship or family member, but it feels relationshipy. But there's this feeling of trying more than one time, stopping and starting, not understanding why something isn't working. There's a lot of that going on and it's from both sides. So we're going to try and see what was going on here. But yeah, there's just like a lot of muddiness, I feel. Yeah, like I feel like, you know, when you build something, like say I'm building Lego and then I have the manual and I'm like trying to read to understand how to make it work. I see both people staring at a manual and getting really confused. It's like, I don't get this, you know what I mean? Or two people trying to put a jigsaw together and one's looking at it from one end and the other's looking at it from the other end, and it's like, this goes here, no it goes there, no it goes here. There's a lot of that, you know. Let's lay the cards and we'll get into it. So pile number 3, please Spirit guides, what closure do my pile number 3s need to cure about this connection? What do they need to know about this connection for my pile number 3s? This person did like you. If you ever wondered if this person didn't like you, this person did. The 6 of Swords has come and I got a feeling to put it reverse. So I'm going to, I do feel this person did like you. I just see a lot of frustrations from your person as well. Pile number 3. What closure do my pile number 3s need? 6 of Cups. Your cards are coming out in reverse. And I feel like it's on purpose. Pile number... I'm hearing better left and sad. I feel like there were things that were unsaid. Pile number 3, King of Swords. Pile number 3, please Spirit guides, what closure do my pile number 3s, what do they need to know? The Hermit, Virgo energy and air energy coming through as well. So Aquarius, Gemini and Libra. The back of the deck we have Judgment. I don't think this person's gone forever. Like, if you're not in contact with this person, I do see this person at one point popping back up. Or it could just be I don't see this person like has forgotten about you. there's still energies quite stuck. We have the Six of Swords reversed. We have the Six of Cups reversed. There's something about this connection where I feel like your person's really stumped about it, because it's like, especially with the Judgment card being at the back of the deck as well, I feel like this person feels really drawn to you, and I feel like you felt really drawn to them. Things weren't working though. Things weren't flowing. It's almost like I approach relationships this way all the time and it works for me this way, and then they're going, I approach relationships this way all the time and it works for me this way. And I feel like you're both approaching the connection in a way that you usually normally do, and it's not working. And I'm being told the reason it wasn't working is because you both needed to step out of your comfort zone and do something different. Now this is what I'm being shown. I'm being drawn, I'm being like emotionally connected. I know that I would like a situation with this person, and then something's falling flat. Why? What I'm literally being shown is a hill, right? A big hill. And you're on one side of the hill and this person's the other side of the hill. And you're both communicating. Maybe it's texts, maybe it's a phone call, whatever. And you're like, I really want to be with you. I really want to be with you. I really like you. I really like you. So you both like each other and you both establish that, and you both start making your way up the hill. So you start walking up and it's getting exciting, and you keep pushing up the hill, and you're talking about how this friendship or relationship or whatever is going to go, and it's great and it's going to bloom and it's like the best thing ever. But when I say you're both walking up the hill, I'm not seeing two people walking up the hill. I wish I had a shell here to show you. I'm being shown, I got one. You know when they have both sides, I'm being two shells walking up the hill. Now, what's inside the shell? I've dropped it. What's inside the shell? Oysters, right? So you and this person, the way you connected, what you really liked about each other was what was inside the shell, you know, all that goodness inside of the shell. That's what you actually were interested in. That's what you actually wanted. However, when you got up to the hill, maybe you had wounds, this person had wounds that mirrored that as well, where you both were very protective of yourselves, or maybe one of you was emotionally avoidant, maybe the other one. I just see two people, it's like a little bit scared to open up that shell, and it's almost like you both get up to the hill and the shells are there and they're both closed, and you're both just staring at each other and you're waiting for the other to jump out of the shell. Maybe you're waiting for this person to make you feel safe enough to pop out. Maybe this, because that's what I feel like for you guys, you're waiting for this person to make you feel safe enough to come out of your shell and open up in regards to, you know, aspects of your personality. This person was waiting for you to show them why they should make you feel safe. So both of you were waiting for the other to make the first move, and then it would fall flat. Because I feel like you both have an idea of each other that actually isn't that true, and you both know that the other thinks of the other person like that. Let me explain. You may think that this person's cold, non-emotional. This person knows you think that way about them, and they're like, no, I'm not like that. I'm actually really emotional. I'm actually maybe really romantic. I'm actually like that. You just haven't seen that part of me yet. You just haven't, like, you didn't get to witness that part of me, but I have it. And you think I haven't got it, and you think that I'm something else, but I do have this. Whereas this person is almost viewing you in a way of, they're almost viewing you as someone that's very, the only way I can describe is fiery, like Leo, Aries, Sag, and very maybe fiery, and like, how do I explain it? Like, maybe you told this person off at one point, or maybe they see you as very defensive and very, I have to say the word, a little bit controlling. And then that's the thing, you're not like that. So then you're going, I'm not like that. Like, I'm not even like that. And you're saying that to me, and you're projecting that I'm this, and I'm not like that. I'm actually very emotional, and I'm actually very deep. You just haven't seen that about me. And both of you aren't seeing what's in the shell, and you were drawn to each other because of what was in the shell, but neither of you popped out of the shell because of, I'm being told, wounds. Maybe you were worried about people seeing you that deep. Maybe you didn't want people seeing you that deep. Maybe you were scared to open up in regards to those emotions until you really felt safe enough to show somebody that, because that's a deep, sensitive part of you. Whereas this person, that's the thing, this person is exactly the same. I feel like this person's quite deep, and I feel like this person has deep emotions, but they were like, I don't want to just open up and show that part of myself. Like, you need to show me why I should let you do that, because I don't just want to do that. And then, like, this person has a fear of rejection and a fear of, like, being left out in the cold or not being liked. So it's almost like I'm waiting for you to show that. And it's funny because this person sees you in a fiery way, but in a way of like defensive, in a way of like they're angry. It could be that you're angry with them, but there's this feeling that they're angry, the defense, and you're not like that. And this is where, and both of you are stumped because both of you know that there is more there. And that's why these cards are coming up in reverse with the Six of Swords and Six of Cups, because you're both viewing it as a missed opportunity, because it kind of was in a way, but I think it was there to teach you where you have insecurities about showing up and being open in certain ways, or where, you know, kind of understanding what you need out of a partner. You need someone to make you feel safe. You need someone to like put in that effort. I think it was showing you what you needed. Or it could even be that fire that they were seeing, that defensiveness, it was protecting that passionate side of you. And you didn't show that passionate side of you straight away. Because I keep being them almost looking like they're defensive and they're like this, but they're almost like, where's the passion? Where's the passion? You have that passion. You were just being defensive of it because you're not going to show that straight away. So it's almost like that person didn't see that about you. So it's like, oh. But you both, there's almost this feeling like you would have connected well around other people, or you would have connected well in texts or phone calls. But the intimate side where you were alone, that's where there was a struggle. And it was because I think there was a lot of anticipation on where this connection would go and how this connection would be. I do think you really like this person, because it's coming through in these cards. You really did like this person. This person really did like you too. But I also feel as well, on top of, you guys both, I feel, just needed more time. Because I feel like you both needed more time to get to know each other. I feel like you would have benefited from being with each other in a light-hearted way first, in a way of like just spending time with each other as friends, more time intimately together, but not actually in a way where you're having to worry about certain emotions coming out. I feel like there was so much seriousness in meetings that you would have had, or there would have been so much worry or angst, or like so much, because I see these two shells walking up the hill and they're excited and they're telling each other everything that's going to happen, and then it's not happening, and then they get frustrated, and then I see them going back down the hill and going, maybe next time, maybe I'm just not ready for this, or they're not ready for that, and then like time passes and then they're going up again. It's like, I've just tripped over this, I couldn't get to the top, maybe next time. So then they go back down the hill, and I almost feel like there was a lot of instances that stopped this from really blooming. Like there could have been somebody else involved at one point, like you could have had someone, then they could have had someone, they could have been super ready for a connection while you were fearing that, so it didn't work out, but then you could have been super ready for a connection while they were fearing it, so then it didn't work out. And there was just like a lot of false starts that just created a lot of mess and a lot of chaos a little bit. But you did really like each other. Like there was like an intuitive pull towards each other. You really got on. I feel like you, even though I feel like there was this disconnect when you would meet or be around each other in that way, you had really good communication with each other. Like I feel like you both clicked quite well, or you'd speak to each other like as if you just spoke to each other yesterday and it had been like a year. And I feel like you probably both still have that, even if you were to speak now. Like you do have that way of communicating, like you've got really good communication. There's so much there. This is a thing. I feel stumped because there's so much there that could show that a connection could work. And I actually think you both complement each other as well on your differences. And that's the thing where I'm like, I'm getting frustrated because it's like, well, why didn't it work then? And I think both of your wounds stopped you from coming out of your shells. Both of you had similar wounds too. I think there was a fear of abandonment, a fear of rejection. You may have both played leave before you get left. Like one of you, there may have been one of you that used to run, and if that person didn't run, then the other one would. So like, for example, you could have met and this person could have triggered abandonment wounds by running away. When they'd come back, maybe they were ready to like open up, but then you'd trigger those abandonment wounds and you'd run. So there's this feeling of that, but I just keep being shown two ships passing in the night. Like timing wasn't right. Like it wasn't right. And I think that when I was being shown the two people trying to create a jigsaw and getting annoyed at how the picture was going, I think that you both, how do I explain this? you look like each other on the inside, but the way to the inside is different. So I think that you would conflict on things very early on, like what, like them maybe not prioritizing you enough, or them not making enough effort, or like they may have felt like you were pushing too much when it could have flowed. And there's a lot of that, and I feel like that's where there was friction, because I almost feel like the way that you normally approach, yeah, that's where we're coming back full circle, the way that you normally approach relationships would have been different to how they would have, and what you both needed to do was put your swords down and learn to love in a different way together. But I think that your wounds may have prevented you there, and I think that was how it might have been. That's how it, for some of you guys, if this is something from the past and you have no desire to get back with them, this is this connection was meant to teach you where your wounds were and what you were frightened of, to bring them into the focus so that you could heal them, so that they didn't stop you from entering and running away from another connection. And it was meant to be the same for them. The inside of the oyster needed to be everything that you wanted then, because it's like, I'm going to approach this, but then these wounds are stopping me. So that's something that you needed to learn. Whereas if you're still kind of in communication with this person and you feel like you would want something with this person moving forward, I feel like both of you would need to acknowledge wounds that you have that would have stopped this, and be open to learning from the other, and really spending time with each other and getting to know each other like that. Because I almost feel like this feels like best friend energy. This feels like we're super close. Like, I feel close to you already. I feel so connected to you. And I feel like you'd be drawn to each other intuitively too. Like, I feel really connected to you. And I think because there was a karmic cycle that played out. But I think both of you as well needed to trigger those wounds too that you had that was stopping you, so that you could be aware, like, this is a trigger, by the way. This is a trigger, by the way. So it does feel a little bit karmic, I'm not going to lie. But for others of you, I think that was the barrier before you got together. But both of you, I think, do look back to each other in a lovingly way. If there's still wounds in this connection with both of you that you haven't released, I don't think you'd look back to each other in a lovingly way. I think that you look back to each other with that wound being part of the lens. Because I feel like you both did trigger something really deep, which feels like an abandonment thing, which could go all the way back to a parent. And I feel like that is something that you guys have been, I feel like you guys have been working on it and releasing it. I think that you also have you both have a completely different idea of how to heal from situations. Yeah. You would have, had this connection actually happened, I think that there would have been rocky moments, because I think that even though you're quite alike in some ways, I do think that the way that you both apply yourselves to relationships and what a relationship means to you is like the opposite of the other person. And I think there would have been a level of really working together to make this happen, which kind of does make me feel like, for some of you guys, I think it was only ever meant to be karmic, to be honest with you. Or I feel like if this was a relationship, it wouldn't have lasted, because I think you were supposed to teach each other what the other one knew, and then it would have kind of stopped. Do you get what I mean? Like, I've taught you this, you've taught me this, and on a soul level, and it's like, okay, well, now we can move on. We've just taught each other these things and moved on. Whereas I feel like for others of you, it was meant to just trigger these wounds of why you're scared to open your shell. You were meant to be faced with those. So I feel like these frustrations, I think that you were meant to listen to those triggers and feelings of why you didn't feel comfortable to maybe open up or show certain sides to yourself, and you'll see where those wounds were. And that was what it was for, was to teach you those wounds, why you're scared to be yourself, why you're scared to open up, why you're scared, whatever it was for any of you. Are you scared of being abandoned? What are you fearing? Because I think you both feared love in a way. You feared being loved, or being abandoned, or loving and being abandoned, or loving and the other person not wanting the love that you have to offer. And I think it was connected to a parent. And I think that you both not only were intimidated by what the connection could be, but you were intimidated by the other person. There's almost a seek for approval from both of you. like, I do see that, whether you realize it or not, I do feel like it's mirrored, like both of you trying to be what the other person wants them to be. And that's why, like, there's an anticipation there. And you may have done it subconsciously, because I feel like this is a wound that would have been triggered from childhood of, like, you know, maybe a parent left and it's like, oh, well, I'm not good enough. So now I need to prove through my relationships that I'm good enough. And then it's like, I'm stepping into this connection and this person likes car racing, so I'm gonna like car racing, or I'm gonna do this, or I'm gonna do that. There may have been like a mimic, and it doesn't have to be you, it could be your person I'm picking up where they used to do that, but I do feel like there was a mirroring of being what the other person wanted them to be. But in actuality, it was the two oysters inside that were actually connecting, which is quite interesting. But I do think karma played out here. We have the Judgment card at the back of the deck, so I do feel like, you know, there was a soul connection here, and there was karma here. But I think that it was to show you both where there were triggers, because both of you would get triggered. I think one was a little bit more avoidant and the other one was a bit more attached. That's it, emotionally attached. One of you was more emotionally attached, like had that sort of love language, and the others were emotionally avoidant, and you were both triggering those energies to show where you may have wounds that are stopping you from being healthily attached and having a healthy connection grow. And I think that was what was happening. I almost feel like you both flee each other. So I don't know if you ran away from this person at one point and they ran away from you, or you would anticipate one of them running away and then it's like the emotionally attached, then you'd overgive to get them to stay. Because I'm hearing Rihanna, stay. Because I even feel like this person being emotionally avoidant, I see somebody cutting off and then wishing that it didn't happen, and then being confused to why it happened and how did this happen, and feeling a little bit defeated. It's really interesting. I think you both may view each other as the one that got away, or like the one that... I feel like this person views you as the one that got away. I feel like you may view them the same. Or at least once that wound of abandonment, that abandonment wound is healed, or, you know, cleared, I think then you might view them as the one that got away, because you'll be looking at it from a detached state of, look what you taught me. Because it's just reminding me of the Corpse Bride, where, what's her face? What's her name? Emily, she says at the end, you set me free. So it's almost like hitting each other's triggers to set each other free. There's a strong connection here soul level wise. Like, I feel like you might be from the same soul tribe, and I think that's why you were connecting. It's the little oysters inside the shell. Yeah. I think you mirrored each other a lot. I think you held up mirrors to each other, and that's why there was a lot of... Because I think you mirrored... You know, Six of Swords reversed. I think that you hit some wounds, both of you did. And the thing is, they don't feel like they hit many wounds in you. They don't think that you're as bothered about the connection as they are. And I feel like you don't think that you hit those wounds in them, and you don't think they're as bothered as the connection as they are. That's another thing coming through. Because I feel like your person... You may think your person acts nonchalant. They think you act nonchalant. That's another thing coming through. I also think there might have been like a angry end. I feel like you might have told this person off, because they're almost looking at like, why are you on the defense? Why are you being so angry? Why are you like, you know what I mean? Like, why are you being like this? I don't think your person likes conflict. So this person may run from conflict. So if you were to ever tell them off, they'd run. They do not like conflict at all. They really don't. You both may have prominent Cancer in your chart as well. Keeping show Mars in Cancer. Let's pull some more cards and get deeper. So, I don't know why my arm's itching. I don't know why I told you either. Pile number 3. What closure do my pile number 3s need? What closure do my pile number 3s need? I'm hearing Drake's song Overdrive for some reason. Pile number 3. Yeah, I feel like... And this is why I feel bittersweet. And honestly, if you don't... Like, I feel like some of you still feel triggered by this person, and that's okay if the bittersweet thing doesn't resonate for you. But the reason I'm saying bittersweet is... I'm seeing two people, right? And they genuinely want this connection to work. They like each other, right? This is two people that like each other. I think you've both convinced each other that you don't like each other. You did like each other. You both convinced each other that the other one might have been the bad guy, I think, at times. Both there with their cards like this. This person doesn't want to put that card down yet because it's waiting for this person to show, you know, why it should. This person doesn't want to put this card down yet because this person is too afraid to. They need to see that this person's the right person. So they're both holding their cards up and they're not putting it down. So the game can't commence because neither of them are doing it. There's too much. And they're both holding their cards close to their chest. And they're not. If one of them just went like this, the other one could do that. But no one's doing it. Too scared. Wounds holding me back. Don't want to. But then what you're meant to do is feel into those wounds and use them to transmute. You know what I mean? And I feel like you have done that. But I almost feel like once the wounds are transmuted, I don't think you'd both have that same draw to each other. Or if one of you transmuted out of it, the other one wouldn't have the same draw. I feel like, for the most part, I feel like a lot of you, because I feel the bittersweet quite strong. I feel like a lot of you have already transmuted out of the energy because otherwise there'd be more of a trigger here that I'd need to explain. Whereas I'm not feeling the need to fully explain the trigger because you know, which makes me feel like you're transmuting out of this energy quite quick. You're, you know, flipping these swords around. Because I feel like you've both, I'm being shown as well, if you're not in contact, no, let me rephrase that. You know when you'd go back and forth, I'm being shown a tide going in and out. So the tide's out, it's time for me to reflect on these wounds. Whatever wasn't worked through for whatever reason, we have a lot of things to work through. We're not going to be able to work through everything at the same time. For whatever reason, the wound isn't worked through, the tide comes in, we're both drawn to each other again. Then the tide goes out, we learn and we reflect, and the tide comes in. You both would listen to that call in and be drawn to each other. I see a lot of like chance meetings happening, like this part, like you end a relationship, they end a relationship, boom, you're connecting again. You walk somewhere and bump into them, and even the time period that you meet, I feel like there was an instance of when you met, like you could have randomly worked together or got transferred into like a job together. You could have been walking down a street and like just randomly started speaking to them. They could be like a friend of a friend, but you didn't hear about them until it was the right time. Like there's a lot of that, and even the circumstances and energies in each other's lives, like there was a reason when you connect. And I feel like after that, because I keep false starts, you know, back and forth, it's like the tide's coming in, we're connected, the tide's coming out, we're not, the tide's coming in, we're not. And if you guys haven't been in contact for some time and you haven't spoken, I feel like emotionally the tide's still been going on. So you both, again, I'm being told to say both, would have had this feeling of the tide out, okay, the tide is out, and I'm not interested in this person, I'm over it, I don't even want closure from this person. And then all of a sudden these feelings come back, you're like, why? Tide's in, and you're both thinking about each other in that time. So even if you haven't spoken to each other for some time, that cycle's still been going with the ocean coming in and out, because it's like flowing to understand and heal. And I feel like if you would have had a relationship, I feel like it would have gone that way. Like I feel like it never would have progressed too much, because I feel like it was always, it's like attracting with attracting. It cycles. So if this person's with someone else or you're with someone else, I feel like you both have had the same cycle of like thinking about each other for a little bit and then pulling away, thinking about each other and pulling away. If you haven't been in contact, if you have, then it's lots of cycles of the same thing. It was always meant to send you both inwards to see what was blocking that from happening. Pile number 3. And I feel like at times you blamed yourself, and then at other times you blamed them. And I feel like for them, at times they blamed themselves, other times they blamed them. It's like I've read the manual in 5 different languages. I've read it upside down. I've researched on the internet to see what others' opinions are. And I'm still confused as to why this jigsaw is not working out. Because it's like at one point you blamed yourself, then you blamed them. They blamed you. Then you both blamed each other. And it's like, I don't get it. But it's the wounds, it's the feelings. Pile number 3, closure for this connection. We have strength, closure for pile number 3's connection. What do they need to know? Sadness. Pile number 3. I think either both of you or one of you still holds light for the other. It could be both, or it could just be one of you. We also have hunger. Back of the deck we have, look, we have cleanse, and it's like the ocean coming in and out. Even if this didn't even get off the ground, I feel like it was incredibly healing for you, and I feel like it helped pull out wounds for you guys. That's something that I'm picking up here. Okay, creativity and strength. There's a lot of, before we're heading up the hill, there's a lot of passion and a lot of ideas of how the connection can go. May have projected onto each other a little bit. Yeah, I feel like you might have projected onto each other a little bit at the beginning, and then I feel like when it didn't go right, I feel like you both might have projected onto each other then, because it's like, see, this is why I don't open up because of this, and it's like, see, this is why I don't give because of this. Whereas it's like both sides of the jigsaw. It's like, no, this piece, no, this piece. That's quite interesting, because then we have sadness. So it's almost like, if you ever think, and I'm going to say this, if you ever felt like, oh, this person didn't care when we stopped speaking, they did. They did. Because we have hunger here as well. I would say that this person, I feel like you've missed this person, and I feel like this person's missed you. Yeah, because there's still like a call-in kind of feeling. I keep hearing the Beat to Overdrive by Drake, but I can't remember the lyrics. That's why I feel that bittersweet feeling, because I feel like this person did want something with you, and I feel like you did want something with them. Because if you've been with somebody else, I feel like it did upset this person, and if this person's been with somebody else, it did upset you. Because I'm hearing Hit Different by SZA, and she sings, well, she sings at first, all that I know is mirrors inside me, they recognize you, please don't deny me. But then she also sings, at the end of like one of her verses, she sings something like, I hate when you pull up with a boo and it's not me, or something like that. Like she's singing about him turning up with another person, it's not her, so it like upsets her. So there's something about that coming through as well. I keep hearing it could have worked, that could have worked, that could have happened, could have happened. That's what I keep hearing. Dragon Ball, my guy's back. Did this person used to say to you as well, I'm not ready, I'm not ready, I'm not ready? And did you used to think, I'm not ready, I'm not ready? Because like in the shell, it's like, right, I'm not ready to get out of this, I'm not ready to get out of this shell, I'm gonna roll back down the hill. I'm not ready, it's not safe. Because there was this constant feeling of like, in the future, in the future, in the future. And I think that kept happening, but it just kept being put off. It could have got to a point where one or both of you were comfortable in the next time. One of you might have got frustrated. I feel like you would have got frustrated with that, actually. This person might have got comfortable putting you on ice and thinking that you were still going to be there the next time they went up the hill. And I think at one point you were like, you know what? I'm sick of like doing this. I'm just going to run off. I think this person might have got comfortable running from those wounds. And thinking, they'll be, we can run up the hill again at one point. No. I think you would have got fed up at one point. And I think you would have felt triggered, and that's what got you fed up and felt abandoned because they weren't leveling up. Maybe you tried to level up and they didn't. And I feel like you would have felt triggered by their inability to level up. And I feel like you then leveling up and leaving that hill and being like, I'm done, they would have got triggered in the same abandonment style of like, you finally wanting to level up and jump out of your shell, they didn't. So them not doing it, it's like, you're not what I need you to be, and I'm trying, I'm trying now and you're not. It became imbalanced. You got triggered because you felt like this is a rejection, you're not wanting to step out for me, I don't like this, you would have ran back down the hill feeling rejected. But you then running back down the hill and choosing better for yourself and going up a different hill, this person saw that as rejection. This person was like, oh my god, they rejected me, they're not coming up the hill anymore, and they felt rejected by that. And maybe if you don't speak, that's where that tide's coming in, where you think that process is still being going back and forth, but maybe without the presence of each other, because it's that rejection wound that needed to be worked through. Maybe this person jumped to somebody else to soften the wound. I don't think you jumped to somebody else, because I see you turning inward. That's why I felt like you've outgrown. Because if it was imbalanced before, it's really imbalanced now. You've been really putting effort into work on yourself, I feel. Pile number 3, final card. I didn't realise what time it was. Pile number 3, final card. What guidance and closure do my pile number 3s need to... Oh, you have 2. Versatility and patience. I'm hearing footsteps by Kehlani, and she sings patience would have done us well, because I could tell that all we lacked was presence. Maybe you weren't around each other in the person too much. Maybe you needed more time to come out of your shells that way as well, because look, we got the egg in the shell. Yeah, it was almost like you were trying to crack the egg before. Sorry guys, the camera cut out, but I was saying, you know, when you make like hard-boiled eggs, you can't crack that. You can't crack that straight away, because actually I tried to do it not long ago, and I wanted them to be like hard inside, and they weren't hard inside. They were basically like as if they hadn't even been cooked. So I almost feel like you both almost felt like it's not time, and I feel like you needed time to kind of like really nurture the connection and build the connection first. But maybe in the past that's not what you used to do, and that's why you were both a little bit stumped. And versatility, I feel like you both could have taught each other. You both were really interested in what the other lacked, if that makes sense. Like, you could be somebody that's very connected to the inner child, and because I see fire and like passionate energy from you, so you guys could be like that, and I think that's what they were drawn to, because maybe they have a lack of it, or maybe they have a lack of it in themselves, whereas you maybe were drawn to this person because of maybe they were a bit more grounded, maybe they were a bit more sensitive, whatever the case, and it's like, I'm drawn to you for that. So there's almost this feeling of like, we're very different, but I'm really drawn to you, and I'm drawn to you, so that's what I'm picking up as well. Which is quite interesting. But there was like similar wounds that kept you both in the shell. You both just didn't feel like you were ready at times. Then we have get curious. I feel like you're both, if this doesn't resonate for you, that's fine, but I feel like you're both still curious about what the other's up to. If you're not, that's fine. It could be that they're just curious about what you're up to, but I do feel a curious feeling, and I feel like it might be both of you, but for some of you it might just be them. But for most of you, I do feel like you. And even if it's like, when I'm saying that and you're like, you may be like, oh, I'm not curious about them, it doesn't have to have feel into it. You could just be curious about what they're up to. We all get a bit curious. I feel like there's curiosity about, you know, I'm hearing attention. No, not attention. What's it called? Wasted Times by The Weeknd. And he sings, who do you belong to now? Who you getting sprung for now? So this person may be wondering if you're in a connection. If you are in a connection, they may be wondering about that. This person could be in a connection. You could be wondering about that. Or that could be a pattern that happened in the past. But I feel like you're both. I don't know why. I just feel like there's a curiosity on both ends of like, because you mirror each other a bit. There is a bit of a curiosity of like, what are they up to? What are they doing? Who are they talking to? Are they filling the void with somebody else? What's going on? Like, there's a feeling of that coming through, and if it doesn't resonate, it could be the other person, but that's what I'm getting. So part 3, I hope this brought you closure. I think you just needed things explained, because I think like that manual, both of you were like looking at that manual confused. I feel like you needed that kind of explained. I hope I was able to explain it properly and make sense of this for you guys. It was a little bit longer than I expected, because just a lot came through to work through, but I'll have your songs linked underneath, so check them out if you'd like. And yeah, I will see you guys in my next video hopefully, so thank you guys very much for watching. Hey Pal4, welcome to your reading. So we are taking a look at what guidance you need for closure on this connection. So you guys chose the Snowflake Obsidian. I'm going to start with tarot, then we'll move on to your oracle cards. So let's get in Pile number 4, please, Spirit Guides. Tap me into the collective of my pile number 4s. Before I even shuffle, I'm being shown the Star card in Tarot, meaning that whatever this connection meant to you, you've really evolved from it. You've really built yourself anew from it. You've really alchemized a lot and grown. You are no longer who you were when you were with this person, and that's a really beautiful thing to say, and I think that's going to be a very healing thing to say. You feel a healing thing to hear, even. So there's a strong kind of like thumbs up in the sense of, look at this, just like, look at how much you've grown, look how much you've changed, look what you've become, sort of thing. Like you really evolved, you've really learned, you've really grown up. And that is a strong reference coming in from your guides and ancestors. You know, you've really evolved so much. I'm just going to keep it there. But yeah, that's coming through really strong, you know. And I think that was maybe the purpose of this connection. But with, like anything, when we link up with someone for a purpose like that, it has the potential to have us evolve, but we might not choose to evolve. You chose to, and you chose to do it really well. And it's a really beautiful energy coming through. Pile number 4, closure, guidance for closure on this connection. Guidance for closure on, I'm hearing Lose You to Love Me by Selena Gomez. Guidance for closure on this connection, please, Spirit Guides. Pile number 4. What have we got? The Ace of Wands. Guidance for closure on this connection. Ace of Cups. Oh my god. I want to smile. Like, I literally want to smile. I feel like you're blooming. Pile number 4. This was a very, even if this was a short-lived connection, this opened wounds that you didn't even realize you had. Like with the Princess of Pentacles as well. Because do you know what's funny? The other 3 piles, I was almost bringing closure in the sense of, let's explain this connection and let's bring this person's energy in. Your guides, spirit, your higher self, it's like, it was never about this person. It was always about me, and I'm wanting to focus here. Because I think that you know that this connection was pretty karmic, and I think that you know how much you've been working on healing those wounds. Maybe you felt like you were never gonna find love outside of yourself. Like, I feel like you may have felt sometimes like you almost felt like you had to beg for love or heal people for love, or, you know, really pull at scraps. I saw this post, and it was like, when we're not taught to be fed love with a spoon, we learn to lick it off knives. I saw that the other day, and I feel like that relates to this, because I almost feel like whoever this was, I feel like they mirrored wounds from childhood that were really deeply ingrained, and I feel like it took some time for you to really work through these. And there's such a strong, beautiful energy of how much you've grown. And to even say, whenever you look at anything where you feel stuck in any area of your life, look at this and look what you've just purged, worked through, alchemized from. You can do anything. This is like Alchemist energy. We've got the flames here on the Ace of Wands, like Alchemist energy. You know what I mean? You've turned the clouds, the grey clouds, into this rainbow. Like, this is so strongly coming through, like, as a pride of how much you've grown from this situation. Pile number 4. Like, the other person isn't even coming through. Guidance for closure on this connection. Some of you guys as well might not have even clicked on this reading about a particular person, but the same wound might have played out through friends, family members, exes, the same wound. We have the 8 of Swords as well. You've untangled yourself from karmic wounds. The wounds that were playing out, the reason that they were so vital, that this person triggered them, those wounds have been played out through family, like your family line, and you've cleared them. Or it could be this is about somebody from your family and you've been working through their karma, clearing their karma, righting their wrongs, not for them, for you. It might have started with them, it ended with you. It ended with bringing peace back to you. You were clearing karma. Back of the deck, King of Swords. Oh, you've evolved. Look at all the butterflies and the Princess of Pentacles as well. You have evolved. you felt stuck in the mud. You were, I don't feel like I need to connect too much to whoever this person is. Again, it could be more than one person you're asking about, but you were clearing karma, and I feel like you almost felt like it was like you were searching for something that was in yourself. You might never have been taught in your childhood that you were worthy, or you might have never been taught how to receive love. So you may have felt like, I need to prove that I'm worthy to receive love, or I need to pour into other people to receive love. I need to heal other people to receive love. And then you always felt like no matter what connection you were in, you were being maybe taken advantage of, or you weren't getting what you deserved back. And you just kind of felt like, why is this happening? Why do other people have normal connections, and why am I being dealt with this? You were clearing karma because I feel like your family members would have gone through the same thing. Your partners would have gone through the same thing. It could have even mirrored in friendships. You were overgiving, pouring into them, weren't getting it back, being super loyal, weren't getting it back. You were learning to pour that into you and have boundaries. You have been learning your own worth. You've been learning how to love yourself, how to not abandon yourself. Maybe in the past, with this connection or other connections, you were setting yourself on fire to keep other people warm. You've learned not to do that. You've been teaching yourself what healthy love is, healthy boundaries is. You've been pouring into yourself. You've been elevating your consciousness. If you look at the cape on the King of Swords, he has the healing swirls all over his cape. You've been healing. You've been removing anything that was telling you that you weren't worthy, anything that was keeping you stuck, attracting in people that were just taken from you, where you felt like you had to give to them, people that were taking you out of your power and you stepping out of your power for them. You have been clearing that, and I know that you've been clearing it because it's gone to the point that I'm not even getting a clear-cut image of who this person is, because it could be a family member, a friend, a relationship, or all of the above. They're not even coming through. They're not even touching the sides in this reading. They're not even coming through, because you're realizing, and you know, it was never about them. It was always about you. It was always about you bringing yourself back home. You showing your inner child what real love was. Maybe when you were young, you saw a dynamic that was toxic or back and forth, and you played into that with other connections. Whatever this connection was, I feel like it triggered that. And I feel like it triggered one wound, which trickled into other wounds, which trickled into other wounds. And you may have felt like, you may have even gone a couple of years in what felt like pain, just getting triggered with all these different emotions, and it felt like you were almost being buried, but you weren't being buried, you were being planted. And a lot of people can have these triggers happen. They don't feel like they have enough strength to heal. They will continuously go around in this cycle. You have literally healed it. You've worked through it. You've cleared it. So that it's no longer just not in your energy. It's not going to be passed on to your future children. It's a completely different timeline now. That's why it's all disfigured when it's coming through, because it's not even on your timeline. This person, whoever it is, they're gone. And I think maybe that's the closure that you need. You're not going to have that again. You're not going to have connections like that again, because you don't even look like that from the inside. Look at these cards that have come out for you. Ace of Wands, Ace of Cups. You're not going to have to deal with that again. You know what to look out for, and your energy isn't screaming for that anymore, because your inner child's like, I don't want that. I don't want that. You've grown up. You've evolved. And your inner child's like, that's not what I'm settling for. I don't want that. I don't like that. I'm not interested. It's not coming back. You're not going to have to go through that again. You wouldn't even allow yourself to go through that again. You're not even... There's a thing as well. You're starting to open up to, if this was a friendship, you're starting to open up to the idea of having friendships again and feeling excited about friendships, because your idea of friendships is no longer what it was. Or you're getting excited to start your own family because you're no longer worried about karma playing out. You know that's not what's going to happen. Or you may be feeling excited for a new relationship because you know that you're not going to let yourself deal with something like that again. You're not going to give all of yourself again, or beg for love like that again. You give it to yourself. There's no need. It's not coming back, powerful. You're not going to have a scenario like that anymore. You wouldn't allow yourself to. It's not showing up in your energy. You've literally... Because with the Eight of Swords, when it's upright, when the Eight of Swords is upright, we're showing a girl and she's got all the swords kind of holding her in place. But when it's reversed, the swords are falling out from this girl's kind of like, you know, what she's being bound to. The swords are reversed. If you see all these cards that are upright, they're falling away. They're gone. Those timelines are gone. You're on a completely different timeline. The closure here is that you just... I want to swear, I'm not going to, but I was going to say effing. You've aced. a life chapter. Like, you've aced a chapter where there's been cycle after cycle after cycle for a long time. Books closed, all done. It's not happening again. You're not who you were when this person was in your life, whoever this was, or if it was multiple people, because I feel like it might be multiple people. Sometimes people just watch readings and they don't feel like they have a person, they just watch them. You could be doing that. If you are, thanks for the support. But I'm here to tell you it's done. It's gone. I'm hearing Get Free by Lana Del Rey. And she sings, I love the beginning of it. It's a really freeing song, hence why she called it Get Free. And she says at the beginning, finally, I'm crossing the threshold from the ordinary world to the reveal of my heart. I think she says, finally, that will for certain take the dead out of the sea and the darkness from the arts. I'm not going to keep going, but really listen to that song. I have all the songs linked. Beautiful song, and I feel like you'd really relate to it. You're no longer playing in timelines where you have to learn these hard lessons to be heard. And even if something does come up where it may be a little bit challenging, you have a completely different way of looking at it now. You know what I mean? You have a completely different way of staring at that now. Because the thing is, I'm hearing Cinnamon Girl by Lana Del Rey as well, and she sings, if you hold me without hurting me, you'll be the first that ever did. Lots of Lana Del Rey coming through. But I feel like you as well may know that you're opening up to love. And I think you know there may be some triggers that come up because when we haven't felt the feeling of receiving love because we've never been in the energy of receiving before, there's parts of us that we feel haven't been loved before. People haven't seen those parts of us yet. So a new love coming in, they're going to see them and love them for the first time. That could be a bit triggering, but I see you working through that really beautifully and really well. And I think maybe this connection or wounds from, if it's more than one connection, maybe on your brain right now, because you know maybe that you're opening up to love and you know that you might have to face that. And I think that's why the message is coming through strong. You're no longer who you were. This is a clean slate now. You know, you are no longer who you were. You evolved so much. Love this for you. I want to pull some more cards. Love this for you. You're like definition of like Alchemist. You've literally turned water into wine here. You've literally had a whole rebirth. That's how it feels with the Lotus here as well. Really, really beautiful. I feel like you've grown so much since this person was in your life. Like, you're not who you were. I want to pull some more cards. Sorry guys, I keep talking. Pile number 4. Pile number 4. I don't even want to talk about this person because I'm trying to tap into them and it's like irrelevant. It's not even on this timeline. I'm hearing I wish you well. So you may be completely over this situation. Like, look how much I've grown. I wish you well, but I do not want that anymore. As I'm hearing, wish you well. Pile number 4. Oh, goodness. Dropped lots. I feel like in childhood, maybe you didn't see a lot of love, so you chose to give a lot instead. I have lots of love in my heart, so I'm going to give. And then that became your thing. You were a giver. I have to give love. This person's going through something. I have to give love. That's my role. And yeah, it's all about love's to give role, but it's also a role to receive it. And I feel like where you didn't receive it, you pour into people a bit more. So where you didn't feel seen, you might have gone out your way to make people feel seen. Where you didn't feel nurtured, you went out of your way to make yourself feel nurtured. And I think you dealt with a lot of people tugging at you. And I think that you now make yourself feel nurtured. And you now make yourself feel loved. And you now make yourself feel seen. And you don't need anybody's opinion on that. You know who you are. And that's so beautiful. I feel emotional. I love it. I just love this energy from you because I just think you're very authentic. You have a very beautiful heart. And what goes down must come up. What comes up must come down. you know, you've learned that it's not your responsibility to heal everybody or give to everybody. And because of that, you know, you're aligning with people that look like you on the inside, but without the wounds, because you've been purging them, you know, and working through them, which is really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Pile number, you may even be feeling right now like it's springtime in your life. There's newness coming in. You may be feeling a bit more romantic. We have cleanse, ghost, pile number, illumination, and we have ideation, but it's reversed. Okay, and then we have sadness at the back of the deck. Now, I'm not shocked, I'm going to get to these in a second, but I'm not shocked ideation is reversed, because I feel like sometimes as well when we're children and we don't get certain needs met, a lot of the times if we make up like imaginary friends in our head, or when we fantasize about romance, we can sometimes create a person that has these qualities that we didn't have. And the only trouble with that is when we do start making friends and we do start being in relationships, we can project what we didn't have onto that person in our childhood. So it's like, I wasn't, you know, nurtured in my childhood, so it's like this connection I'm in, I'm almost projecting that they give it to me when they really don't, because I had to do that in childhood. I didn't get it in childhood, so I had to project that I had it. So now I'm doing that in my relationships, and it mirrors through. And I feel like you might have idolized people or saw the good in them or saw their potential. And the thing is, parents have the potential, but sometimes they might not meet certain things. You know, they might have the potential to heal something, but they don't do it. And I think that you would see the potential in parents, see the potential in friends, see the potential in romantic partners, and they wouldn't meet it. You've stopped idolizing people. Now you're looking through your own eyes. You've stopped idolizing that. It's like, I'm not, rose tinted glasses have gone. You protected me when I was young, when I might not have had what I needed, but I give it to myself now, and we don't need them anymore. Let's look at this for what it is. And I think that's really why I'm being shown you're not who you were, because there's no projection there. Now, you wouldn't allow yourself to fall into something through projecting onto somebody, because you're looking at people and like, do you have what I need? You know what I mean? Is this a real connection? Is this what this is? So I think that's really protecting you too. Clans, not shock me that's come out, because I feel like you really, especially with the sadness and the crying cloud at the back of this deck, you've really purged a lot. You've really worked through a lot. I feel like you've cried tears of like ancestors, parents. You really have purged and worked through a lot. Because when we cry those tears that our ancestors also were stuck in those karmic wounds, we're crying their tears too. We're really purging that out for them too. So you really, I don't think you realize sometimes the depth of what you've done. And I think I'm here to say that. Why do we have Ghost under the Ace of Cups? I think in people's absence, you then learn to love yourself. You might have been put on timeout a little bit, or in isolation. Wasn't punishment. It was there for you to pour into you and realize, you know, work through these wounds and plant these seeds to build anew. You didn't need anybody else. So you weren't being punished at all. There was, look at that, it's like a sun, but it looks like it's a light at the end of the tunnel. And I wanted to say, there's a light at the end of the tunnel. And with the star around her solar plexus, it's like, she knows she's worthy. She's worthy of love. And I think you know that now. You've purged anything that made you feel like you weren't, which I feel was connected to childhood. And I feel like you guys would be happy to say, whoever this person is, they're not even showing up in your reading. Meaning they're gone. There's not even a wound there, I don't feel. There may be a scar in the sense of, I've got to be careful of this, I've got to be careful of that. But as far as like an energetic cord or anything like that, gone. Gone. It's over. Pile number 4. And I think whoever this was, or if it was a parent, or if you've been releasing karma from parents, there's a feeling even from you as well. I've forgiven. I remember forgiven isn't, I'll be back in my life. I'm back in that energy of overgiving. No, you're not overgiving. That's not what it is. You've forgiven because you're moving on and you learn and you've grown. And that's really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. Love this for you. Pile number 4. Guidance for closure on my parent before's connection, even guidance for closure on my parent before's connection. Share wisdom. You've planted new seeds now. You have planted new seeds now. It's going to trickle onto your kids. It's going to carry on through your, not only through your life, but like your soul's going to remember that. So like, say now you incarnate again and you choose to incarnate somewhere with karma because you just want to help collectively heal karma. Energetically, you're going to remember this life and be like, oh, I know how to do this because of this. I just feel like you're one of those people. Or you could work with people, like guiding people in that way, like counselor, therapist. You could do readings for people. I think that you, because you're an alchemist, literally, so you're able to do that. People that walk through the darkness to find their light, the universe makes sure they're put in a place where they can help other people do that too. So I feel like you may be placed in a position of guiding and helping others, which is really beautiful. And I'm not shocked we have ascension. So I feel like this may have even triggered an awakening for you guys, this connection, a spiritual awakening, or just a healing journey for you where you grow. Yeah, I think that this has helped you evolve in so many ways. The fact that we have that at the back of the deck, and then we have King of Swords, I feel like all, you know, the sadness here and the tear, I feel like every tear that you've kind of purged out, it's helped water and grow this beautiful forest. Here with this Princess of Pentacles, because it's like you're full and you know you're full now. That's why you have the Ace of Cups. So beautiful. I'm so proud of you, Pal 4, because that's a lot of work. That's some hefty work. That's some hefty work. You've really, I'm proud of you, and thank you for doing that work as well. Because when you're clearing karma, it's hard, but by doing it, you're even evolving the collective consciousness on Mother Gaia. So thank you from me to you for doing that, because I feel like you've been evolving, and you're going to keep evolving too, which is beautiful. Love this. So Pal 4, that is what I have for you. I love this reading. I'm so glad that Spirit left this reading till the end, because I'm walking away from this feeling really good. So yeah, Pal number 4, I hope you enjoyed the reading. I hope it gave you the closure and the boost that you need. Hit the thumbs up and comment down below if you enjoyed the reading. Your songs are going to be underneath. I feel like if you haven't heard Get Free by Lana Del Rey, I feel like it would be really healing as well for you guys. So if you want to hear that, it'll be in the channel songs, and I have the other ones there as well for you guys. Yeah, so hopefully I'll see you guys in my next video. So thank you guys for watching.